And your message has been a lot about the heart.
Yes.
Proverbs 4:23.
Exactly.
Above all else, guard your heart, for it's the wellspring of life.
Yes.
And so as you poured your heart out years ago, and I've only known you for 6 years, and I've only seen the side of Gary that's hiding God's word, and I oftentimes don't believe you when you tell me what you were like 7, 8 years ago. I have to ask other staff members what you were like. But what does it mean to guard our hearts?
Well, I'm going to talk about, different people have different hearts, actually, and so I'm going to talk about that because here's what I learned. My son began to teach. I was just a mess. I mean, I was griping about everything. I was discouraged. I was, just walking away from God. I didn't like trials. I was grumpy. I turned into a grumpy old man at 62 years of age, and so I knew I needed help, and I was upset more often at my wife, and I tried to change her. Actually, we've been married for 43 years, and I spent 38 years trying to change her so that I could be happier.
Tell them about how you always were trying to get her to exercise.
Oh, listen to this. Listen to this story. For 38 years, I must have tried over 500 ways that I thought were brilliant to change her, because I thought I wanted to grow old with her healthy, me healthy. So I was always trying to get her to exercise.
This is the marriage expert.
That's true. But it made sense to me. The science talks about it and so on. So anyway, but every time I presented this and how we should eat, and it was always real popular discussion. And so anyway, I never worked. It ended in an argument every time. And it wasn't like I was bringing it up every week, but, 38 years of marriage, I brought it up from time to time. So here's what happened. My son started teaching me, mentoring me. Isn't it amazing? We raised our best friends, and then I raised my mentor. Oh,
this is
love
Greg.
it. Oh, yes, Greg. And Michael mentors me the same way, and Carrie, my daughter. But I was trying to change Norma, and he saw it, but he was learning all this great stuff in research and helping these couples get back together when they were just like horribly in conflict. And so he was teaching me, Dad, you can't change Mom. You can only change yourself. You can't change anybody. The only person you can really work on and change is yourself. And so he said, Dad, just work on yourself. Let me teach you how to do this. And then he said, if you try to change Mom, what you're doing is creating an unsafe place for her. She feels insecure being with you because she thinks she's going to be criticized or judged, or she's not coming up to your standard. And that's what happens when you and I try to change our mate or our kids or somebody, when we come at them critically.
Or our pastors.
Pastors, that's exactly right. Because the only person we can really change is ourselves. So here's what I learned. There's neuroscientists like Dr. Alan Shore, people like this all over the world, who are learning that God created us with a part of our brain. It's called the limbic area of our brain, L-I-M-B-I-C, and it was designed by God. The very DNA fiber of that area of our brain is designed to motivate us to connect to other people in a connected, meaningful, loving relationship. And it's from birth to death. So you will find your entire life you're hungering to be connected to somebody in a really meaningful relationship. When you met your mate, for the first several days, weeks, months before you got married, you felt relatively safe with them. If they start criticizing you, condemning you, judging you, trying to change you, you're going to feel uneasy, you're going to feel unsafe. Most people disconnect before they get married if they go through those kinds of experiences. A lot of times with a couple, you get married, then afterwards you think, well, now I'm going to start working on my husband. I'm going to get him to the place where he really starts hugging me and holding me, and talking to me, and just sitting on the couch and being relational and saying, honey, tell me how your day went. Very few men do that, naturally, and we have to learn those skills. Yeah. And so you've learned it, which is really good, because as an example as our pastor. And so anyway, what happened was I realized that when we criticize, try to change, judge, and so on our mate, then they begin to disconnect from us. And so the relationship is weakened. And I saw that in my own marriage, and especially when I became grumpy in my 60s. And so when Greg explained this to me, I thought, that makes total sense. I really get into this. I actually asked her out on a date right here in Branson, candlelight dinner. I brought a piece of jewelry for her, and about halfway through the dinner, I took this piece of jewelry and I put it on the table, and she saw it. She loves this type of a gift, and I said, I have something really, really important to say to you, and I'd love to have you listen to it, then I want to give this to you, but it's so crucial in our relationship and for me to say this to you. And I said, 38 years of our marriage, I have spent a lot of time trying to change you, right? And she go, that's true. And I said, you could probably think of every one of them right now, you know, great memory. And I said, but some of the things that I've really tried to do is getting on your case about exercising and then how we eat. And I said, I'm really grieved about that and all the other areas that I've criticized you over the years. And I want you to know I really feel sorry about that. I didn't understand this stuff. And she knew Greg was teaching me this stuff and she was thrilled. But anyway, I said, I am done trying to change you. I am done correcting you, blaming you, thinking that I could be happier if you just adjust your life in some areas. I'm done. And I'm so sorry. And I'm here to tell you tonight that from now on, I will encourage you, begin to praise you, accept you exactly the way you are. Whatever you want to do is between you and God. I only want you to know that I'm going to work on me, just me, because I'm the one that needs to work. I'm the one that has the logs in my eye. And so I'm asking God to change my life. And that's my prayer every day. And so what I'd love to ask you is if you could forgive me for this junk that I put you through all these years. Gosh, she said, you know, she was stunned at first, you know, and then she said, yeah, I'll forgive you. But you could tell, you know, the look on her face is like, you know, what's he up to, you know, how long is this going to last, and so on. So she did forgive me. I gave her the ring to remind us of this night. 4 years ago, this happened, okay? What is she doing today? What do you think she's doing? She's exercising. What is she doing? She's the cheerleader for how to eat in our office and motivating other people to work on what they eat and exercising. I was exercising with about 2 or 3 months ago on our new landing here in Branson, Missouri. And she went, ooh, in her knee, you know, and I said, ooh, how's your knee? And she says, ooh, it's killing me today. I said, she has severe arthritis in her left knee. And I said, well, hey, we could stop. She says, no, I want to keep walking. We're going to go down to the end and back. And I said, we don't have to do that. And she said, no, I'm exercising. She says, I told my knee yesterday, I don't care if you hurt. I'm going to drag you down the road if I have to. And I went, oh, I'm thinking to myself, I couldn't even get her to talk about this for 38 years. I get off her case. And 4 years later, she's highly motivated. What that taught me is get off of your mate's case. In fact, here's what I'm going to ask you to do. I'm going to ask you to seriously consider today going to your mate or your friend or your kids or your boss or your employees or somebody that you've been critical of and trying to change them, and, you know, just, you know, especially your mate, because here's the key. Your mate has nothing to do with your quality of life, your happiness. You can have them change all day long. It has nothing to do with how happy you're going to be. And so I'm going to encourage you to go to your mate, if this has been the case in your life, and start soon saying, I'm done trying to change you. What I want you to know is I'm only going to work on me, and would you forgive me for all the things I've said to you over the years? Because what we really have done is we've created an unsafe place, and when people feel unsafe around us, the relationship is harmed. It's diminished. We get a degree of disconnection with every one of the times that we create an unsafe place for our mate or our kids or whoever we're relating to. And our brain is trying to get this connection, and we think, I'll be happier if I change the person.